Hey Cancers, and thank you so much for checking out your December 2016 General Tarot forecast. I can't believe that 2016 is about to end. It's been a long, trying year for a lot of people. A lot of Cancers that I've met and have known as clients have had a kind of a difficult experience this year. Not all of them, but all the water signs have also, from what I've noticed, been struggling a little bit this year. So I think that it's going to be really great to get it over with, start anew, and get some fresh new experience moving into 2017. Speaking of which, I wanted to say that there will be some changes coming on my channel, some great changes in my opinion, with the new year. It is my goal to start a introduction to tarot series where I talk about each individual card and give a little bit of my opinions and my experience with the tarot. So comment below or like this video if that sounds like something that you guys would enjoy. Also, I wanted to say that there will be some changes on my shop as well due to the increasing volume of people who are seeking private readings with me. I am going to be increasing my price in January just because it's very draining work, and with the demand right now, I have to do that. But however, any of my clients who book with me before January will retain that price. Whenever a client starts work with me, I will always for the future give them the same price that they started with, so that the change in price for my private readings will not affect clients who have already had a reading with me, only people who never have, because you kind of get into a personal relationship with your clients, and I don't feel the need to raise the price for people who have already worked with me. But I just wanted to tell you guys, so if you would like to book a reading with me this month and retain my rate, which is right now $65 for 30 minutes, then you can check the description box below and go over to my shop and book a reading with me. And it's easily spelled out of how to do that for you guys. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into the general energies for Cancer coming forward for December of 2016. I am so happy to see that Seven of Wands right in the middle of y'all's spread. It can be kind of a difficult card for some readers, but with this lovely depiction of it in the Tarot Illuminati, I feel like you guys are getting some of your strength back, because you guys have faced a lot of opposition, and there's still some opposition moving into December, but you're going to finally notice that your core, that your strength and what you have to offer to the world is something that can face your opposition. Your opposition that you have experienced for the last 6 months, or even 7 months, will no longer be able to have the power that they've had in the past over you. It's felt like you've been up against a brick wall, almost, hasn't it, Cancers? And now, moving into December, you're going to gain knowledge or strength, or something is going to back you, perhaps an allyship or something, with which you can use to finally face your opposition if you so choose. Because it's been hard. Y'all have the Tower and the Ten of Swords in your reading as well. But that's coming from the past, I think, because you've got the Sun too. There are a few different ways we can look at this, but I know that the Tower has popped up a few times, I think, in September for Cancers. I know the Ten of Swords was there, and I chose to interpret that at the time that the summer had been a very explosive, difficult time for Cancers potentially. So it's like some of those issues that you were facing have risen to the climax, perhaps, moving into December. They are on the table, but you're moving past them. Potentially, since you've got the Six of Cups in your reading, the person that may have caused some of this or may have brought some of this dysfunction into your life may be re-entering into your life, okay? Because you've also got the Prince of Cups. This could be a male Pisces, Scorpio, or Cancer. This could represent some of the Cancers out there, too, who is emotionally manipulative and doesn't, it's like you're unaware that they have so much baggage or that they bring so much dysfunction, and you may not even consciously realize it when they're with you, but it's like your life starts heading in a bad direction when you're with these people, but it's not something that's very tangible, not something that you see very consciously, as I said. Okay? But if that doesn't make sense for the people that are in your life right now, Cancers, this could be a representation of you, because the Prince of Cups is the male representation of a male Cancer, or a Cancer with a masculine type of energy. Okay? And this could be suggesting that be careful about wearing your heart on your sleeve right now. You know the type of people that you can be vulnerable with. You know the type of people who will not use your vulnerability against you. So make sure that you're not displaying that to people who would, and you're a very good judge of character. Don't, because I wouldn't consider Cancer a weak sign, but sometimes if people become emotionally available for you, you can tend to go very overboard and kind of just display it all for them to see. So make sure you know who you're dealing with first, because I'm just touching a little bit more on that. For the sign Cancer, part of your journey through life is to potentially not come into contact with that many emotionally available people. And that's every sign has a difficulty throughout their life, and for me that would be, other than potentially a problem with the mother or the family unit in general, Cancer's main problem in life is coming into contact with people who are not emotionally available for them. So when you finally come into contact with someone who is, sometimes you don't employ all those amazing abilities you have to read people, because there can be a bit of desperation to have maybe a sense of camaraderie or just being able to talk about the difficult things in your life. So my advice to you is to know the people with whom you wear your heart on your sleeve with, okay, for December. Because you don't want the wrong people knowing all of your ghosts or knowing all of the skeletons in your closet, because when people start to add that up, they can use it against you, and you can find yourself in the situation of this Ten of Swords, where you have been stabbed in the back with your own skeletons or your own swords, however you want to put it. And there's a lot of potential for December, Cancers. You've got the sun, and I think that it's because for a while, maybe after moving through October and November, things started to clear up. Things started to feel a little like there was hope. And then something happened, like all of a sudden, maybe recently in November, like towards the middle or end of November, like you were kind of blindsided by something. That's what I think when I see the tower at the top like that, so you're blindsided. Maybe you, in the summer or in September, escaped or broke up a very abusive relationship, but maybe you still wanted to be with that person to a certain extent, or you thought that person cared more for you than they actually did. So you started to regain your strength through October and early November, only to find out that this person that you were with perhaps was already with somebody new, did something that, even though it wasn't quote unquote wrong, it felt like a major stab in the back to you, and it really blindsided you through mid-November and late November potentially. Okay, and what a very important message about that is, be thankful for the ability to see this person's true colors. It's easy to think about how much that hurts, how much this betrayal hurts, how much being stabbed in the back like this, how difficult that is. It's kind of the first reaction that most have to any form of betrayal. But it could have been worse. Well, when I see the Ten of Swords, it's kind of like, sometimes it can be a bit of a worst case scenario, but it can always be worse. It's the nature of life. And I'm sure that you can think, Cancer, like, had this happened 6 months into the future, a year, 2 years, 3 years into the future, imagine how much more intense it would have been. Time is our best friend and our worst enemy sometimes. When we don't see someone's true colors, time becomes a major, major debilitation to us. However, there is an extreme blessing in seeing someone's true colors, even if that hurts us deeply. Because now we can move on with our lives, we can pick up the pieces, and we can know this person for who they are. And I would encourage you not to take a harsh tone with yourselves. I don't want to hear the Cancers out there being like, I should have realized this sooner. I shouldn't have put myself into this situation where this person did this to me. I took a leap of faith, and it only ended up with me being stabbed in the back. I would encourage you guys to not take that tone with yourselves, because it won't always be this way. Okay? And it actually makes me feel a little bit emotional. Like, I'm kind of like getting chills, and I feel bad because I resonate with this. I have the moon in the 4th house, so I have kind of that Cancer energy in my life, and it's very accurate for me. for sure. And I just feel like it's a tough situation that you found yourself in, but we live a life of extremes and opposites, and there's got to, for as difficult as this situation was or is, there's got to be a major blessing somewhere wrapped up in all that. We just got to look at it from another perspective. Okay, accept the past for what it is. The past is also coming forward in this reading with the Six of Cups and the Prince of Cups kind of surrounding. It may not be the focal point of what's going on for you right now, Cancers, but it's like the peripheral energy present is what happened in the past. It kind of just circles around you and is always kind of there, isn't it? Well, it's time to take this energy that I talked about in the beginning with that Seven of Wands there, the energy that you now have to face your opposition, whether that be yourself or people who are trying to bring you down. And it's time to kind of explode out of the past and move forward, because you've got some amazing energy moving forward. And also, there's kind of a stereotype against Cancer as to be a very passive sign, to be a very, kind of a pushover, and, to definitely not be the embodiment of what we see in the Seven of Wands. When we see the Seven of Wands, a lot of our first thoughts is like an Aries or potentially a Scorpio, like the types of signs that if they're bitten, they will bite back twice as hard. And, we don't generally tend to think of Cancer as that type of sign. However, Cancer is a cardinal sign, which along with Capricorn, Aries, and Libra, okay? And cardinal signs are forward moving, and they manifest their energy in a forward penetrating way, which is strange with Cancer because it's that water recessive crab sign, it recedes. So, but I would ask people to observe Cancers when someone who they care about deeply or someone in their family is threatened, and watch these seemingly passive pushover type of people turn into like the most ferocious. Like, they generally don't tend to be the people to do a preemptive strike, They're not really the ones to attack, but you attack a Cancer or someone that they love, and, watch them gain almost more power and more strength and more ability than any other sign in the zodiac. You see the Seven of Wands there, and you see that person, they have all of those things stacked against them. They have all those weapon looking things, like it's wands here, but they're all against them, but they don't worry. They're going to fight. They're going to stand there and fight. And that's what Cancers are doing. And back to my original point with that, there are a lot of people that think, oh, Cancer, what, so what? Is if they're outnumbered, they're going down. Like, they're so weak, they're so passive. The way that the cards are turning out, I think that a lot of people are in for a great surprise when they try to take advantage or wrong a Cancer or one of their family members or loved ones. You guys aren't having it anymore. That was in the summer when you guys were passive and just kind of let other people exploit you. There was a sense of Cancers being exploited in the recent past, but now you're coming into your power, and there's a transformation that's happened through the Sun in Scorpio, I think. And you guys are saying no more. I am not going to allow people to walk over me, to walk over those that I love or my family, and I will find the strength to push back if that's what the ones who matter to me need of me. But what's even more important is that it may be what you need of yourself, Cancers. Maybe another perspective on this reading is you've been so quick to do that for the people that you love, to fight for the people that you love. But what about you? What about yourself? Do you give that same kind of loyalty to yourself? Because if you don't, there's an aspect of Cancer that always needs somebody to defend. Like, Cancers can become very directionless in their life if they don't have family, if they don't have people who need them. They like to kind of nurture and be a mother, per se, to the people who are important to them. So, and a lot of cancers will find themselves alone because of this, because again, that's part of their spiritual journey. And if a cancer is alone and doesn't have anybody to care for, anyone to nurture, it's a sign that they can't do it to themselves, that they don't care or nurture for themselves. So if you're a Cancer or have the sun, moon, rising, or any fourth house or Cancerian placements in your chart that are strongly aspected, and you're alone and you don't understand why and you don't want to be alone, well, it's probably because you don't give yourself the same kind of treatment that you do the ones that you love. And the reason why that's a problem is because it creates this dynamic where if people really needed you, there's got to be an aspect of something about it that's good for you. Or I'm not necessarily saying that you gain on the physical world, like you get money for it or people love you more. That's not so much what I'm talking about, but it's like you have to feel that sense of empowerment to do it. And a lot of Cancers feel that very abundantly. However, if you're alone right now, it's probably because maybe you couldn't be there to the extent that you think that you could. So you need to practice on yourself, and you need to prove to yourself that you can be. And then the universe will start introducing people into your life who you can be there for to that capacity. And moving on, some Cancers need to get out of a situation. Some Cancers are in a destructive environment, and some Cancers have been wondering whether they need to leave, and the answer is yes. Or something drastic needs to change. And if it's not something within you, Cancer, then you need to leave, because we can't change things about other people. Sometimes people give us a false illusion that they'll change for us, but it's always got to be for themselves. And we know that. We know that as people. You've got to have something within you that changes first before other people can wish that of you or encourage you to do that. So the Tower, I think, has come into your reading along with the Seven of Wands, to see, do you have the strength to leave a situation before the universe destroys it so that you have to leave it? And this can be another issue that I see with Cancers, because you guys, and Scorpios too, you guys are like the clawed signs, and you have those pincers. And have you seen those videos where the crab will like latch on to skin or something, and it won't release its grip until they pull on it, but it's so easy to pull the crab and just take off its arm, but it's really hard to make it release its grip. Like, it'll still be held on, but it'll just tear its arm off. That's kind of the whole embodiment of the Tower. And the whole universal archetype is like, will you release your grip before we tear off your arm? It's a really good analogy for that, I think. And, Cancers, you've got a lot of strength right now. I don't want to see you getting your arm torn off. I don't want to see, proverbially, I don't want to see your arms being proverbially torn off, Cancer, because who do you need to prove that you can hold on so tight? You don't need to prove that to yourself. You already know that about yourself. And the Prince of Cups asks that you have control of your emotions, because, it's trying to evolve upward into the King of Cups, which is kind of the idea of complete emotional control. And if you can't will yourself to let go of something, how much control do you really have over yourself at the end of the day? Cancers can be really well known for their emotional control, but I think that's kind of a facade a lot of the times. It takes a very highly evolved water sign to be, it's one thing to how you display that to the world, but I'm talking about how you actually feel it at an internal level. I think that Cancers and Scorpios especially have a very good control of how they voice their emotions to the world, how they display them, but it can be a very big struggle for Cancer and Scorpio and Pisces to actually control how they feel or how they react to something. So that's kind of what I think is another learning lesson for November moving into December, is how can you better control your emotions and your reactions towards yourself, especially. Because you've got to start healing. over something. There's something it's not being allowed to heal. And I think with the Seven of Wands, like, that's kind of giving you the energy to do it. It might be giving you the energy to break something off, to finally face your opposition. That may come with its fair share of wounds, of which will need healing as well. But, you're never going to heal completely if you don't give things closure. If you don't let your own sense of authenticity come to the forefront and let other people know what that is, if they're trying to be in your sphere. Because you guys have a lot to work with. Yeah. You guys have the Sun. You've got the Tower. So, obviously, those two major arcana cards, very powerful, extremely powerful archetypes. That's the universe's way of saying, we're here. But there's something when we see the Tower that's outlived its service, that's outlived its purpose, but you're trying to hang on to it with those claws, and be careful of getting your arm torn off, proverbially. Because, and even if you do, because most of you have experienced that before, what that's like, and you don't want to go back there. But at the same time, it's part of what makes you such a nurturing person, because you know what it's like to live without that. Cancers probably know more than anybody what it's like to live without someone there for you, without having to depend on yourself. And regardless of what happens, Cancers, you can be assured that you will not lose that empathetic feeling of what it's like to be nurtured, what it's like to need to give that to somebody. That's something that you'll never lose. But there are some things that you guys need to let go of. And there's no reason to be upset with yourself for that, because it's not been your choice. It's been other people's choices. So I hope that is helpful for you guys moving into December. Hopefully I don't seem too negative, because you guys have so much to work with, and you guys have energy. You guys have the energy to do it, and that's the best thing, that's the most amazing silver lining. I don't see you guys being completely drained or taken aback by your situation. Okay. So again, the changes that are coming in 2017 to my channel, I really hope that you guys will love them. I'm going to keep it a surprise for now. I don't want to spoil the surprise, but if you haven't subscribed yet, I hope that you will, because there's going to be a lot of really exciting content coming in the new year. And I love it when you guys like my videos and comment. I love to get and talk to you guys personally myself, get into a dialogue. Jump over to my shop. It's linked in the description box below. Buy a reading if you want to lock in the price that the readings are now before the new year. And I hope that you guys have a really great December. I'm really rooting for you guys. Okay, bye.